How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to ReWrite. So here we are, we're continuing down the path. Not really sure where we're going, but we're spending a lot of time with Chihaya. I'm not actually mad about it at all, which is kind of funny because like she was probably one of the ones I was least interested in the first round through. And if I am on her route, which it's not formalized, I've noticed there are signs to tell when you've formally entered a route, but I'm guessing that's where we're going to end up just because it just feels like that's what's going to happen. And if that's the case, that's going to be okay. And it's funny to me because it really wasn't what I was going to pick. But then we've had a couple like new moments with her that I didn't experience the first time through, and it really changed my perspective of her. So despite like the Mr. Annoying Butler dude, we found out one of his weaknesses, which was pretty fun. And that was probably the highlight of last episode. We're continuing to skip through. I apologize. There was one choice that I kind of cut out. It's because when I made the choice, it just skipped right through because it was the same one. And so the choice was whatever it was where you are curious about Lucia's gloves and whether or not you can get her to take them off because she always seems to have a backup pair. And so like it was that whole narrative, which we had already covered. But that's why I cut it out because I thought, oh, well, we skipped it. It wasn't really relevant because it wasn't presenting any new information. But someone in the comments mentioned like, hey, what was that choice you made? And so like that was it. I clarified then, but I'm going to try and avoid that this time around. But we'll see. It's when you're editing this stuff, it can be a little challenging to really condense it without cutting out anything important when we're skipping. So it's a new kind of thing. Most of the time we don't cover content that has to go skip-tastic like this. So it's a little new, but yeah, we'll get started. So let's just jump right in or hit that skip button and we'll see where the winds of fate take us this time. Okay, leather guy. I just remember something funny. Don't lie to me. Lie? No, I just remembered a stand-up comedy routine. Fetch! This was a bad idea. Oh, okay. Oh, sure. I've learned my lesson. I am truly sorry. I managed to somehow fool him. Slum? No, I'm looking for someone. I give him the details. He tells me a few places I'd likely find him. Okay, well, that was a piece of cake. Yeah, so not much change there. What the? I swear something just let me hover over it. Am I going crazy? You heard that, right? Like, am I going crazy? I was like, I did the flick and I went over the button on the side. I am going crazy. The leather jacket wearing novice old man told me to go here. All right, so what's my advance button? Like probably one of these. So like, let's go down chronologically. All right, so here we are. I should make a small branch of it. You're going up a chance, but you're working hard. Your Kotori loves straightforward effort. And on that note, I've got to hurry along. Kotori always goodbye and leaves. Yeah, because it's like, I think this is the one where we were like saying like, hey, let's go spend time together. But she leaves. I know what I want to do. I want to follow her. I still like Kotori a lot. We'll see if she stays my best girl, but my gosh, she's fantastic as a character, but I'm going to try something different this time. Let's let her go. Nah, it's fine. Ugh, I hate it. I received a message from Shizuru that evening. The two had a fight, but it's okay now. She obviously means Chihaya and Lucia, who had also been absent today. Oh, right. So that happened. So we've stopped here. He's saying, I know a place full of evil characters. Oh, when we went with her, I think that would have been with us going with her. And that's where we would have like had our first encounters with Chibi Moth and like in the alleyways and like tested his ability to defend her, right? Like, I think that's what that was. Okay. But yeah, I kind of figured since we spent so much more time with like interacting with Chihaya, I thought we would have seen a bit more about what that encounter, that fight was. So that was interesting. But anyway, so this slight change right here, as I'm guessing, is just simply because I didn't follow her. It's just like a little line of dialogue where we maybe follow up with her a bit. And a place full of evil characters. The slum. Oh, we going there now, huh? Well, it's actually just a back alley where delinquent teenagers hang out, but okay, yeah, maybe that. What did I miss? I know, right? We find a bunch of suspicious stands and steel pipe-armed characters staring at us with bloodshot eyes like last time. Alright, I want to see. I miss you, Kotori.
でも危なそう。
Doesn't that make it perfect place for the test? We'll only need to defend ourselves.
まあ、そうだけどね。
Alrighty then, let's go explore this den of debauchery.
おう。
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're gonna skip because I'm guessing most of this we've already seen. An old man in a leather jacket hurriedly approaches us. Ah, you're the guy that accosted me the other day.
Sorry, ここまでだ。随分と暴れ回ってくれたようだが、この辺にしといちゃくれねえか。
年貢の納め時だ。
Huh? But it was just starting to get fun.
けじめはきっちりつけさせてもらうからよ。
The guy pulls out a knife from his pocket.
わっ。
He seizes his own hair and presses the edge of the knife against it. What the fetch is he doing?
ここは俺のソウル、リーゼントにかけて
What?
聞いちゃくれねえか。
I don't want your hair. No, you don't need to do that. We'll leave by ourselves. Is it really that important to you?
毎朝30分かけてセットしてる。床屋行きは週1ペースよ。
Don't cut it off.
じゃあ、ここまでにしておこうよ。なんかかわいそう。
I agree. Let's leave it at this. Yeah.
紙なんてもらってもしょうがないし。
Are you the leader in this area or something?
ちっちゃいチームだが、ヘッド張らしてもらってる。
In that case, return this to everyone. I hand him the gold we collected. Just make sure they stay out of trouble.
おお、あんた、保安官か何かかい？
No, I'm just a weirdo. I'll be back if chaos returns to the land. Keep that in mind.
覚えとくぜ。その言葉と犬っぽい動物。
Chibi Moth is the best.
もし。
Marsh. Whoa, wait. I forgot that's what he used to look like, but I swear he looks paler. I thought he was more pink. I don't know. Maybe I'm just going crazy. So it does look like a dog.
小太郎くん、ちょっといいことしたね。
Aw, do I get head pats? I guess that depends on what the guys will do with the money I handed him. In any case, it's time for to make our way back. Alright, I mean, kind of reflavored, but nothing really different. Alright, so I think we're gonna be able to skip here for a bit. We split up. Is this where we got stuck in like the different zone, right? Yeah, like there's nothing else here. It's just us being lost. Whoa, what the? Oh, it's just the side thing. I keep hitting those buttons and freaking out. Alright. Let out a loud sound if I take a picture. The person will notice me. Crap, if only I brought a proper camera with me. That said, it's a bit too late for regrets. I don't remember what I did, but I'm gonna observe. Yeah, that's what I did before. Knowing what they are doesn't make me keen to talk to them. Oh, this is bad. I'm seriously in danger. Oh, so like this is them following us. We have to leave. We're too slow. Alright, so get serious and upgrade our level or wait for help. We're gonna wait for help this time. I decided to get further away and hide. It seemed like I somehow lost it. Now I can just wait here. In the meantime, I turned my thoughts to Chibi Moth. His nose extended back there. That was... I'm pretty sure I saw something like that before. Rather than an elephant. A mammoth? My vision swims momentarily. Yeah. So I think that's referencing like the former path we did. Ah, that's right. Those animals are long extinct. Are you one of the survivors?
もしよ
Well, whatever. Better keep it a secret or I'll turn into the international incident. Let's just say that you're a dog who would never bring this up again.
もしよ
He nods as though understanding my words. It looks like he's quite intelligent for an animal. There's no way a mammoth could have survived this long anyway. I checked my surroundings again. There isn't a hint of my pursuer anywhere. Did I manage to wait them out? I guess so. Oh, wow. I glanced up at the orange sky. It feels like time has suddenly jumped forward like it happened back at school. There's definitely something weird about all this. I tried coming up with an explanation, but I've got nothing. Well, the explanation is that we've phased back in. I still don't get how we phase in and out. Like, it's that by accident, we've taken other people with us. I'm sure we would get to know more if we got to know, like, how the summoners work. All I can tell is that there's an alternative dimension here or something.
もしよ
Yeah, you're right. Let's go look for your master. Would there ever be a day where I discovered the truth of this mysterious phenomena? I certainly hope so. I'm dying to know. I have a feeling I will, and that day isn't far off. Interesting. All right, now we're finding Kotori. Good. fun of him or do it seriously? Make fun of him, do it seriously. I love you. He's really fun to make fun of, though. Did I make fun of him last time? I know. Like, I'm really gapping in what I did last time. Let's make fun of him. Yes, I did that last time. I can either go on my own like Chihaya or I can team up with Kotori.
私は当てがあるから、一人でも大丈夫だ。
It feels like she's preemptively rejected me. Now I think about it, although he's her guardian, that ninja dude was a bit weird in the head, too. It might be a good idea to look for Chihaya and make sure she doesn't get herself killed. Yeah. Okay, interesting. So, I'm guessing this is where we're actually jumping onto the path route because we're getting close to the date where that happens. I can't remember exactly what day it is, but I know we're getting there. Last time, and this feels different because last time it was the option of either following Kotori or staying behind. So there's some other branching path that happens if I stay behind, or if I go after Chihaya here, I think it seals me into the path with Chihaya. So we're gonna go ahead and click this and just see what happens because it's kind of leading me the breadcrumbs there. I feel like I've already kind of built this understanding of like kind of getting to know her character better, so I kind of want to see it through. I'll go on my own too.
社会に揉まれて、一回り成長してくるのだよ。
Yes, ma'am. I'll try. Bye, Kotori. In the end, I can't find anything on my own. It's already pretty late. I walk down the empty corridor. The silence of the orange-lit corridor has a totally different flavor of creepiness compared to the dark one. Being alone is... My senses scan all directions. I'll notice things even if I'd never even think of if I was with someone else. I know full well my earlier experience with Yoshino instilled a fear of empty corridors in me. What would happen if I ended up in that kind of place again, but by myself this time? I'd probably panic. I'm used to being alone, but the alternative world is a bit much even for me. Only a couple steps separate me from the club room. Once I open these doors, I'll probably see Akane sitting at her computer. I count every step. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. What? I've stopped at step 4. I turn around and find an unfamiliar freshman girl. You talking to me? I can't think of a reason for an underclassman to address me. I'm standing in front of the club room. Could it be you want to join the ORS?
いえ、そういうわけじゃ。
I'm wrong.
ちょっと迷っちゃってて。
Oh, well, I guess this is a big place.
そうですよね。何回登ったかわからなくなっちゃって。
What's your name, first year?
はい。西成ですけど。
I don't remember her. Or she might have been the girl that was like the friend of Inoue. But I don't know. Have you seen any endless corridors?
そうです。階段も何回登っても上に着かなくて。
That makes sense. And it's interesting, now we have a witness. This actually could be a credible source now. I see. That's...
はい。
You're just tired. Been happening to students a lot lately. Endless circuit syndrome. Endless syndrome in short. Endless circuit syndrome or end sit syndrome in short. Think you're walking in one direction for a long time, but in truth you've barely moved from your spot. It's caused some kind of hallucination. I'm surprised by how much crap I can make up on the spot.
そんなやばい病気だったんですか?
It's not that serious. It passes as soon as you get some rest. You were feeling stressed out about exams lately, right? If that's the case, then hurry home, take a warm bath, and go to sleep early today.
はい。
Don't try to look into your symptoms or anything. It's a recently discovered illness, so there still isn't any relevant information available online. That's a weird way to try and... okay, whatever.
そうなんですか。
Nishinari bows and scurries away. Why couldn't we help her like a little bit? Or get her to like talk about it? I'd only confuse her if I told her the truth. I'm looking out for my underclassmen like a true senior. Gotta investigate this though.
おかえり。
Hey, how's it going, Kotori?
おかえりです。
Hey, Chihaya. Two capable investigators greet me as I enter the room. How'd it go? Did you two find anything?
堪能した。
Oh?
いやー、途中でちーちゃんとさくやさんと合流してね。久々にスーパーでお買い物したよ。
Great job investigating. There's a plastic bag filled with snacks on the table. Good for you. I could safely assume they both found something. With no choice left, I bury my anguish in potato chips. Speaking of which, there's already a mountain of empty bags lying in front of Chihaya.
そうそう。今度の水曜日に、咲夜さんがお弁当作ってきてくれるって。
Is that so? Lunch with that guy? Sounds like an invitation for me to be his verbal punching bag, but having lunch with everyone sounds fun.
ですよ。
Doing things like this with the club isn't too bad from time to time. However, wonder if I'll ever write that article if we continue like this. Well, I suppose I'll just have to try harder next time. It's always next time. Alright. Are we locked in? I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'll know when I save, I think. October 26th. I'm gonna do my best today. Yep, alright. And we're gonna do our best skipping. So, bye-bye. Whoa, what? Wait, recording Yoshino's voice. Enjoy by clicking and using the run pad until you're satisfied. Don't patronize me. Oh. What is this? It's beautiful. I'm such a child. I'm sorry for your eardrums. That'd make a good ringtone. So it's interesting. So like last time we made the funny video, the YouTube video, but now we have the soundboard. Alright, I'm done. This is fun. Yoshino snatches the laptop away from me. Hey, how the heck do you think you're doing? No! By the time I get the laptop back, the folder's already been wiped. You deleted it! Yoshino deleted it! I know you felt shy, but you don't need to go that far. You think it was easy? How long do you think I spent editing it? Editing it. How long do you think I spent editing it and making a chorus?
その辺大変だったのってネットのチャッキーさんなんじゃないです?
I won't forgive this. It's unforgivable. I can feel my dark side expanding within me.
小太郎くん、ダメだよダークサイドは。笑顔でスマイル。ほら、ライトサイド。
Offer cookies. It's too late. My light side is already gone. I've been locked down in the abyssal depths of my soul. Your voice can no longer reach it.
そんな。
だ。てめえが散々俺をコケにしてくれたのが元だろうが。望むところじゃねえか。デュエルなら受けて立つぜ。
Oh, we're actually a part where I can skip again. Okay, we can stop being dramatic. Let's go. I had fun. Before I realized it, classroom was totally empty. Ah, right. Today was the day that Butthole's lunch party. Yeah. Guess it's happening in the club room. Hooray! I might as well go see how it's going. Nobody's inside. Huh? Am I the only one not in the loop? That's not nice. I spot a letter on the table. The weather's so nice today, we all went outside. Mom. P.S. Item number 1 has been completed. Equip it immediately. I'm confident that's a man's doing. A pair of glasses with a funny nose attached stretched on the table by the letter. Yep, that's him. Immediately my butt. You take me for a fool? I spiked the letter at the table. This is happening outside anyway. Does he think that he doesn't think much of his children for a mom? That B, I'll make him shed tears for me one of these days. I slipped the nose glasses up for now. Despite what I said, I actually enjoy stuff like this. Huh? The letter changed. Whoa, I can see a map while wearing these. That's a pretty complicated trick, especially given the low payoff. Kind of clever, really. Kind of lucky we don't mind either. I find everyone enjoying a picnic on the vinyl sheet in the inner yard.
Yeah. 遅かったですね.
Thanks to who?
まったく小太郎はいつでもどんくさいですね。
Oh, we're gonna hear that from you? Really?
時は金なりよ、天王寺小太郎。
I would have gotten here right away if not for the distraction of a certain someone. Aww. Shizuru taps the open space next to her. Thanks. You're always so nice to me, Shizuru. Aww. She flushes lightly. Not at all. Don't make me blush, fool, says her vigorous shaking head. Well, calm down. I lower myself next to her and start. Doesn't she look like you've got... It doesn't look like you've got much left at this point. I can see the bottom of the big lunchbox sitting between them.
心配いりません。こんなこともあろうかと、愚鈍なヘッポコ太郎くんのためにきちんと残しておいてあげましたよ。
You know, one of the benefits of getting... If we do end up on the Chihaya route and getting it done early is I don't have to deal with him much anymore. Like, please... It's great. He's so good at being obnoxious. It genuinely gives me a headache as a reader. I mean, he's good for flavor, and I wouldn't say he's a bad character. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's a bad character at all. In fact, I think he's a really good foil to Kotaru. Because Kotaru never really had a foil, except for maybe himself at the end of the Kotori route. But, like, having somebody who kind of messes with us, like we tend to mess with Yoshino, kind of puts a cool, unique spin on things. Like, he's so obnoxious. It's Kotaru. That said, I honestly didn't expect you to do that for me.
惚れないでくださいよ。気持ち悪いですから。
Yeah, that's less likely than a dung beetle beating a level 99 dragon, so you don't need to worry.
そうですか。それは何より。
As he rummages through his bag.
さあ、ヘッポコ太郎くんの大好きなパンの耳ですよ。
I shouldn't be surprised. Yay, I'm so lucky! I'm gonna murder you.
冗談ですよ。大人げないですね。
And my name's Kotaru.
似たようなものです。まあ、こちらにハム卵サンドを用意しておきました。
I don't know if I'd eat that. It sounds like you could have easily like left it out in the sun too long. Oh, it's actually one of my favorites. I take it. Thank you very much. Much. This is... Wow, this is delicious!
そうですか。それは何より。
Much, much. I noisily devoured the second one as fast as possible. I only have one left!
君の分はそれで最後ですね。
It was nowhere near enough. I feel like the others ate more. This one ate more for sure. Darn, looking at other people eat is making me even hungrier.
ヘッポコ太郎くんは寂しいですね。
You're on thin ice, buddy, but you're cooking food for me and it tastes delicious, so... I'll deal with it. You can say whatever you want, but I'm hungry. I put quite a bit of value on nutrition. Fetch me! Why does it do that? This amount is nowhere near enough to sustain me. If this is really it, I'll need to run to the cafeteria before break is over.
そんなに美味しかったですか?
I'm pretty sure I already said that was.
あの程度では私の心には全く響きません。
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I can go for the spleen? That sounds like it might be easier to access. What? Alright, I'll turn it into the gourmet manga character for you, just this once, though. I have one mouthful of a sandwich left. I place it in my mouth and make a mental report of my observations. First, the texture. The softness of the bread rivals that of the angel's wings, which makes cracking through the tough exterior of the lettuce as refreshing as chopping bamboo with a sunny forest. It only takes a moment for the deliciousness of the egg to spread across my taste buds, and soon is reinforced by the full-bodied taste of the ham. A 1-2 punch of flavor slams into my brain like a volley from a derringer. This is, without a doubt, the king of sandwiches. Grand Sandwich King! It's like we're freaking on Food Wars.
ごちそうさまでした。
お粗末様です。
Ugh.
なんです。食事中に立ち上がり叫ぶなど下品の極みですよ。
No, I'm okay.
大変うまかった。
Shizuto nods vigorously.
いいものだな、こういうのは。そんなにすねないでくださいよ。
I don't want to hear from you from the glutton who ate half of the entire meal.
仕方ありませんね。また作ってきて差し上げますよ。
Huh? It's suspicious when you suddenly start acting nice. Fetch me! Why? What's wrong with my mouse? I don't think you got to see it in the camera. I actually held it up.
何? 私は野山などに赴くと、ついバナナなどを用意してしまうたちでして。
So we decided to go into the forest already? Don't treat me like a monkey, gosh darn it! I don't know how I feel about this feast at all. It was quite delicious though. I mean, that sounds like it was worth it. In the club room after school. Need to look for leads. At this point, even my words feel empty. Can't expect interviews on old records to be consistently enjoyable. In other words, I need some field work for a change of pace. Today we have Prez, Chihaya, Sakuya, Kotori, Suzuru, and Lucia. In other words, we had the full team present. Looks like the perfect opportunity. The spiriting away incident happened in school. I actually found some records mentioning it among the old ORS stuff. It happened at midnight. According to my past experiences, it seems to happen whatever at random, but it's possible that it has a higher frequency around midnight. At the very least, it makes scheduling a time for an investigation easier. And it's not like we'll find anything better by sitting on and wasting time in the club room. This might be the first serious investigation with full team. Oh, interesting. So, are we actually doing a different investigation? Because on the Kotori route, we did the forest investigation. I assumed that was part of the mainline route, and it might technically, it might have like technically been, but maybe we do an investigation into that Twilight Zone instead for a different route. That's kind of cool. If we do different investigations based on the character that you're like kind of going down the path of. And it's inside the school. We don't even need to prepare that much. We can treat it as some sort of haunted mansion dare or something. Okay, everyone. I come up with a plan right away. Pulling a whiteboard from the middle of the room, I explain myself passionately, sketching out all sorts of diagrams for everyone to see. This will no doubt end up in an unforgettable investigation. Our school never organizes night events, so the feel's fresh and new. No one could possibly resist the allure of something like that. They're all gonna be like, I want to sleep. That's all from me. Any questions?
意義は全くないわ。
Okay then, let's do our best.
え?
Excuse me?
泊まりって着替えも何も用意してないんだけど。
だいたい学校に外泊なんて校則違反もいいところだぞ。
楽しそうだが規則違反は良くない。
Oh man.
今日見たいテレビあるんですけど。
That's the lamest excuse yet, Chihaya. I totally forgot that my team is the least motivated group in the world. I have to solve this problem somehow. Hey.
はい?
Can you record the show Chihaya wants to watch?
何をおっしゃるかと思えば。当然、千早さんの興味を持つ番組などすべて把握し、毎週欠かさず録画予約はしております。
So that's one possibility. You heard him.
じゃあ私はいいですけど。
Kotori, you can return home and grab some spare clothes. They've got showers here and everything.
泊まりじゃなきゃダメなの?
It'll probably be pretty late by the time we finish.
お泊まりはちょっとハードル高いんよね。
深夜のお見送りでしたら、私がいたしましょうか。
それなら OK だ。
There we go. Staying overnight would definitely be more fun. Well, whatever. In that case, we'll go home after the investigation's over.
待て待て。違反には違いないだろう。そんなことは私が許可できないぞ。
Of course not. Lucia, you need to be here to supervise us. You know, because we're not out here to break rules. We're here to perform a club duty. And surely the school supports club duties. But obviously, we can't be left to our own devices. So we need to make sure someone as, responsible as you is out here taking care of us, making sure that we're not getting into trouble. Prez, is there any way to remain in school at night without breaking the rules?
かつて文化祭なんかがあった時には宿泊が認められることはあったらしいけど。
In other words, it's not like all overnight activities are forbidden here. It won't be against the rules if we get permission.
そもそも会長さん、ずっとここで寝泊まりしてるんですよね。
Kotori's got you there.
そうね。許可も取れないわけではないと思うわ。
You heard her.
だが、
平気なら私は構わない。
As expected from the most lenient disciplinary official in history.
しずる
What you gonna do now, class rep?
ならば残るしかないだろう。
別に嫌なら無理に参加しなくてもいいと思う。
そんなことができるか。この男と一緒に深夜活動なんか。
I like how it's not even breaking rules. That's the problem now. It's just us.
私が見張っていないと何をしでかすかわからないぞ。
All right, I'm marking you as in. That's to the plan. That's the plan, Prez. Fetch me. Why, mouse?
いいけどね。で、何か有力な根拠があっての調査なのかしら?
Yeah, you could say that. I experienced the phenomena firsthand.
でも、神隠しって、いまいち、なんだかよくわからないんですけど。
Well, there's a bunch of recorded instances of it from the past.
まあ、大半は今で言うところの犯罪絡みの虚言でしょうけどね。私の所感の解説が必要かしら?
Uh-huh. No, I imagine a lot of things can make a person disappear. but I'm sure there's 1 or 2 disappearances that cannot be explained by science. They have probably happened on a small scale than murders or whatever, but
面白いわね。例えば
the Bermuda Triangle is one of the more famous ones. It's a place where a bunch of ships and airplanes disappeared. And I heard stories that the plane got swallowed by some white smoke while flying over it too. It reaches its destination just fine, but it ended up 30 minutes early. Don't you think it sounds similar to this? You disappear, then there's something off with the passage of time?
到着時間の試算が甘かったのね。じゃあ、その飛行ルートと機体の速度、その他正確な時刻を示す証拠なんかはあるのかしら？
If I remember the story, the big problem with this is the fact that record keeping wasn't nearly as consistent or accurate because it was all done by paper and hand.
それに、バミューダにはいくつか仮説があったわね。異空間とつなげることのできる説というと、ブラックホール説。
なんですそれ？
船や飛行機の座礁はブラックホールが原因。時間軸の乱れが起こる事件については、ワームホールの理論で説明がつくと。
Oh, there's a lot of problem with physics in this one. But obviously, the clear summary is the fact that a black hole that's stable enough to actually be able to warp space-time around it, but be small enough to not actually absorb enough matter to it wouldn't work because even if the black holes are really small to the point where the gravitational superpole is actually fairly local, you could conceive of having a small enough black hole that you could have it on the planet and it wouldn't destroy the planet just outright, but it would be constantly pulling matter into itself. And we don't have a limitless supply, and as it did, it would slowly grow, and so it would slowly become a problem. And if anything, the issues around the Bermuda Triangle would get worse.
よくわからないんですけど。
ブラックホールの中心には、時間の流れを無視して移動できる穴ができるのよ。
And she's right about that. I talked about this in ScienceGate, but it's been a while. So what happens in black holes mathematically is really fascinating. Because when you fall past the event horizon, essentially what's happening... Okay, so let me explain this really quickly because it's a good kind of way to describe it. So imagine you as a person. We're going to use a person as an entity because it's really easy to relate with. But you can technically use any point of matter, like an atom, a proton... a planet, any scale you pick. You just pick a scale, so you pick a frame of reference. I'm going to say a person. Imagine yourself. Imagine yourself if you were to pause time 5 seconds from now, right? You pause wherever you are and whatever you're doing, and you freeze it. And then you imagine what are you capable of doing based on the different choices you could make from that point forward. So if I'm sitting here at this computer chair, and I, from a set point of time, in 5 seconds, where could I conceivably end up if you take all accountability into the process? Well, as barring some kind of exterior uncommon intervention of some kind, like a plane crashing into my house or I fall through a wormhole, essentially I'm limited to this room. I could probably get most places in this room in 5 seconds. I could casually get up and stroll. I could sprint as fast as I could, like my life depended on it. I could do something somewhere in between. I could also go in any variation of directions, pretty much an infinite number of potential directions. But you have to believe that under the restrictions of my physical body and the natural laws, that I have a very limited scope of where I could be. Even if there's infinite options, those options scope are restricted to a certain axial point of time, space, energy, all of those points. There's only so much I can be capable of, like I said, without some kind of essentially divine intervention. But as time progresses from the point where you do the initial observation, as you extend that time, the options and the places I can go and the things I can interact with and the events of those interactions grows exponentially. So 10 seconds from now, I can access more of the house. I could try and jump through a window. I wouldn't, but I could try. And then you extend it to 15 seconds. I could possibly get outside in that time period, especially if I was really in a hurry. I could go find my cat. I could go lie down in bed. I could leave the house. And then you extend it further. It's okay, well, I could get out into the street, but I can't just suddenly be in Texas. I can't just suddenly appear in Pakistan. Like, there's a limit to my capabilities of travel on the planet, but you can see how that scope has gone out. So you can imagine probability like a V shape, where your initial start point is kind of locked in place in time and space, and then the possibilities expand like a cone and get more and more broad, where you start to reach kind of critical masses where like you just the possibilities get so endless it becomes almost impossible to calculate in any way. So that's the way, if you can imagine, that's a good way to imagine time and the relativity of time, in the sense that like there's so many potential options, but there are restrictions to those options, assuming you establish some clear laws of the universe. And if you really take it to the extreme, one of the defined laws of the universe is the speed of light. The fact that we cannot accelerate past the speed of light limits what that cone can be, even in extreme, like, divine intervention levels of stuff. But when you fall into a event horizon, something interesting starts to happen. This expansive, like, possibilities starts to collapse on itself, because as you fall closer and closer to the black hole, and you get closer and closer to that event horizon, which is the no point of return, like the point of no return, your options of where you can end up being in the next, several seconds becomes less and less, like, broad. Like, you go from infinite possibilities, but you go to an infinitely shrinking infinity, and you get closer and closer and closer until you hit this event horizon where you suddenly hit a point, but then you fall further than that. Because past the event horizon, you're no longer restricted by that time. You're no longer restricted by a time barrier, because time stops to truly exist in the same form. So you hit that point, kind of similar to the point where I was theoretically starting, like me sitting in this chair. I essentially hit that with the black hole, but instead of being able to open up a cone, I turned into an inverted cone. And that's where things get really interesting, because possibilities, according to the math, still exist on the other side of a singularity. The fact that is that matter can still be manipulated and can still do things, accomplish things in a black hole. We see evidence of this because we know of Hawking radiation, where black holes emit beams of hypercharged light wavelengths in a very low spectrums, but they're there, and they come out in these bursts of energy. And so, like, they're released by some mechanism that we don't understand yet about what's happening in a black hole that is allowing this energy to escape and to dissipate, which essentially means that black holes process raw matter and energy, convert it into something, and emit a kind of radiation that means that the black holes, if they don't absorb new matter, will actually slowly evaporate. So anyway, black holes are not this end-all be-all we used to assume they were. So, assuming you can hold yourself together and you fall through a black hole, the matter that you are, or the atom that you are, or the photon that you are, falls into the black hole, and then expands the cone. But the thing is, like I said, it's an inverse, so if the cone spread outwards like this, going from like a single point out, but then it's forced in, the trajectory of possibilities continues like this. But the thing is, like, this is inverse. Essentially, what you're doing is you're going from the positive side of like a graph to the negative side of the graph. That space is still explorable in every conceivable way, but it stops working in the same directions anymore. And that's where you start having this interesting ability where that kind of cone of possibilities kind of opens up sideways now. Almost, it's technically sideways in both directions, where there's a theoretical way that eventually you could step out of the black hole in some form. Like, it would be spaghettified and not human, but say you could be in a protected case somehow, like, defy physics in that way. You could come out at a later date and kind of re-emerge back into the universe and kind of re-expand into your possibilities again. Granted, you're not exactly sure when you would, because it could take you, like time stops meaning anything at that point, so you have really no way of measuring that, but you eventually come out and then you start measuring time again. But the math still says that that possibility kind of inverting sideways allows for your emergence to come out before you fell in, because time isn't restricted by positive integers anymore, because we think on a timeline and that's a positive integer flow. But in a black hole, you overcome that. The math essentially says that physics says you're no longer restricted by time flow. You can now work in different directions of time. And that's what's really fascinating about black holes. So when she's talking about ignoring the flow of time, that's what she's trying to say. She's summarizing very plainly the science behind the math that says, look, once matter crosses that event horizon and you can take gravitational forces and time out of the equation, the math clearly says that not only is that stuff taken out of the equation, but it opens up possibilities where the math simply says that matter should be able to, if it can escape that black hole, it's not limited in escaping in a linear manner. It can technically escape anywhere along its timeline, which is one of those things that makes it interesting. So remember I said the black holes will emit like this Hawking radiation, right? Well, this is a pet theory of mine. I have no idea. I don't think it's based on any science at all, because I just don't think it is. But like, part of me likes to think and wonder, like, when we see these rays emerging on a black hole, something we assumed is impossible, really, but we've witnessed it happening. What if we're not actually seeing this radiation expanding out of the black hole, like, right now? What if this is an expiring black hole in the future, gushing its own guts out through different parts of time? So it starts sending energy particles and photon wavelengths backward through time, and it just emerges kind of where it fell in, which is the black hole, but it's such a high velocity and it's such a juxtaposition of time and space that it's able to essentially emerge from where we expect nothing can emerge from. But it's because it's a manifestation of the black hole's lack of time-locked nature. So it's an interesting theory. So very long rant, very much science-based. This is definitely something that I'll call back to if you watch my Steins Gate, I go all into the fun theoretical stuff in there. I'm having a blast with it. But yeah, this is the best way I could summarize how black hole ignoring time flow would actually work and how you could like conceptualize it in your head.
ただ、一体どういうものかも知らずに、概念だけで曲解した論の典型ね。
I wouldn't call it an
古い
old
話じゃしょうがない
hypothesis.
けれど。
It's not old, really. I mean, it was hypothesized back by Einstein's his original calculations were kind of like followed through to these conclusions, but everyone was just like, but that doesn't make sense. Like maybe this is just a breakdown of like the laws of physics. But then the problem is that the math that was saying things like matter passed through a singularity is not restricted in time. We're not seeing direct evidence of like, oh, time-traveling particles, but other things that model would predict, we are seeing. And like, that's what Hawking radiation really is. It's like saying like, look, like Hawking realized like through the math, he said like, look, if this model is accurate, we should see black holes emitting X-rays or some other type of highly charged photon. And everyone's like, that would be impossible. That breaks what they are. But then we've discovered it. We've seen it and observed it. So it's like, okay, so what does that mean?
地球上にブラックホールなど自然に存在する余地はないし、仮に存在できたとして、実際に発生するであろうワームホールの大きさをご存知?
Now, I wonder if this is a translation issue here because she's almost referring to a wormhole and a black hole like they're the same. They're really not, but they break the reality in very similar ways. A wormhole is essentially an event horizon that doesn't disrupt particles as they pass through. Essentially, it's a gentle black hole. But because it's such an antithesis to what a black hole is, you can't really equate the two. Because it'd be like saying... It'd be like saying that since a catapult and a jetliner both carry objects through the sky, that they work on similar principles. They really don't. They're on such different scales and follow such fundamentally different like aspects of physics to manifest that even though like you can make similarities to a boulder being flung through the air over at a castle wall and a jumbo jet filled with 300 passengers like flying at 50,000 feet, you could argue that they both are matter being transported by force to a different location. But that's about all they share. Same thing with this. Black holes, wormholes. They simply ignore the law, like the restrictions of time and space's blanket by connecting points that shouldn't be able to be connected, and time, points in time as well.
現在予測されている大きさのワームホールを通り抜けて、時間軸の違う異世界に移動なんて真似。飛行機は愚か。アリの一匹でも不可能よ。
Yeah, again, the reason why like I talked about how like you wouldn't actually be able to survive going through this is because like most from the best guesses we got, atoms don't survive this process. quarks probably don't even survive this. Like the fundamental building blocks of matter, like the tiny pieces of protons, which are tiny pieces of atoms, they get ripped to pieces as they fall through into like a singularity, because the forces are just so titanic. It just disrupts the fundamental aspects of what makes matter matter.
ついでに時間軸移動をするには入り口が高速で移動し、出口と異なる時間に存在させておかねばならない。
Yep, she's essentially this. So she's actually saying very similarly to what I said, but in a much more scientifically summarized way.
高速？なんで入り口にそんなことしなきゃいけないんです？入れなくなっちゃいません？
How are you following this conversation all of a sudden? What?
相対性理論を学びなさい。
I mean, theory of relativity is like the beginnings of that. You have to really start going into quantum theory if you really want to start like trying to parcel like how this model would actually predict. But the theory of relativity simply was stating the fact that like based on the relativistic movements of time and space and the flows and contours of gravitational forces, how it associates with matter and time, and how all three of them kind of work together. Anytime you craft it, you meet an extreme of one of those three, you either have a limit or you break something. And black holes tend to break things. Like speed of light is a good example. Like we cannot accelerate past the speed of light because like according to our math, it's literally impossible, which is why time dilation happens. We've observed time dilation, and time dilation is essentially how the universe compensates for things traveling closer to the speed of light. As you approach it, time eventually starts to stretch out to kind of compensate for how much you're compressing space. It kind of like has a reversal, so your time slows down because that prevents you from actually accelerating faster than light. It's really interesting. As something that moves closer and closer to the speed of light, their internal time starts slowing down.
なんでです？そもそも相対性理論って何です？
I genuinely thought she was following along for a bit. Now she's like, Understanding that will be the meaning of your life.
で、白い煙だったかしら？それはどう説明がつくのかしら。
Okay, and it doesn't even grace Chihaya with a comment.
科学に根拠づけられた起こり得ない実証をさも論理的かのごとく語るのは相当頭が悪く見えるわね。
Okay, whatever. Let's forget that then.
白い煙なんて不可思議っぽい演出めいた状況の創作は実在説を唱える際にただ論点の穴を開けるだけのシロアリに過ぎないわよ。時間軸の矛盾なんかもね。
Arrival time debacle. Oh, she's saying the 30 minutes ahead. Wait. Brez.
何？面白理論でも思いついた？
No, it's something else. If you can't explain it with science, then doesn't that imply that there's something occult at work? Now that I think about it, I was arguing from the wrong position. That's what a dismissive snort. That was a dismissive snort if I've ever heard one.
じゃあまず聞こうかしら。本当にバミューダトライアングルの事件なんてものが起こっているのかしら？
Well, I mean, with that many accidents, it's just natural to assume.
そうね。事故の多い海域であることは本当かもしれない。
But she's gonna pull out it's also in a tropical area where sudden and violent storms are very common, and you can't always see them coming, and they can definitely make things disappear.
さっきの飛行機の到着事件の話くらいしかオカルト要素につながるものはないわよ。
What? I'm saying that the occult is causing these accidents to begin with.
別の海域で起こった事故までバミューダトライアングルで起こったことだと騒ぎ立てられている可能性は？メタンハイドレートや海底火山が原因で事故の多い海域である可能性はあるわね。で、飛行機の到着時間については到着時間の試算が甘かった。
Or you could argue with a plane, like you get a solid enough tailwind, but but not enough to would cause like the flight disruptions. You could end up like just kind of traveling faster than you think you are. Dang. And how about this? The Philadelphia Experiment.
あ、タイトル聞いたことあるかも。
I'm sure I have too, but I'm drawing a blank right now. Yeah, they even made a movie about it.
テスラコイルを使ったレーダー回避のための小児実験だったかしら？
Huh. Yeah, but when they started the flow of electricity, the ship was surrounded by green light and suddenly teleported. When it came back, the crew was stuck to the walls and stuff. That definitely doesn't sound like a thing that's actually happened. Isn't that an example of being spirited away that modern science can't explain? It came back in this example, but it could have just stayed on the other side, wherever that actually was anyway.
それはこんな感じかしら。
おー、聞いてくれよ、ジョニー。
Oh my gosh.
なんだい、飲みすぎでワイフに愛想をつかされたのかい？お前と来たらいつもそうじゃないか。
おいおい、冗談は顔だけにしてくれ、ジョニー。これこういう実験があったんだよ。
Oh, someone just telling tall tales to impress their buddies.
何？電気でレーダーかいくぐる実験？
ああ、もうそれがもう大変でさ。揺れた拍子にケーキに指を突っ込んじまったらさ、そしたら指がめり込んだケーキがショートして指が焼けちまって。
おいおい、こりゃワイフに揚げたて熱々のフライドチキンでも投げつけられたんじゃないのかい？
冗談じゃないぜ、ジョニー。ノーフォークに残してきた神さんと俺はいつでも愛し合ったる。
Did they actually know Norfolk, or did they just randomly pick a place in America?
ジーザス。もう船はコリゴリさ。
No, they wrote out G's, but it sounded like he said Jesus.
おいおい、だからって今から神さんの上に乗りに行くなんて言い出すんじゃないぜ。
Right, let's listen to this again.
ジーザス。
Yeah,
もう船はコリゴリさ。
I'm pretty sure he said Jesus there.
というのが発端。あとはいろいろと曲解されてでっち上げられた噂話が最終的に瞬間移動と異常な光景に変質していくのだわ。
You just made that up on the spot.
放電現象だけで異世界経由の瞬間移動するなんて、理論をでっち上げるのとどっちが暴論かしらね。
She's actually got a point there. Electricity makes things happen that look really cool and almost mystical, especially like when you're testing new waters and stuff. But the concept of electricity is pretty simple. You have excess electrons in one area, and you use the natural push that creates through the various forms of matter, especially conductive ones, to allow those electrons to flow. But since electrons are basically packets of pure energy, it causes like interaction that essentially sends a charge as they travel. You know, like it's pretty standard. And while electricity can do some pretty amazing things, we have yet to really see it fundamentally change the laws of physics. In fact, it tends to just be a manifestation of the laws of physics. Huh? I find that idea that it was just a simple rumor harder to believe.
実証できない理論を根幹において交渉を積み重ねるほど宙に浮いた不自然さはなくてよ。
Well, hang on. Okay, I was going to counter here and say, like, well, yours is an unproven hypothesis too, but then she could counter that and say, like, well, which of the two sounds more possible? Because then we'll just Occam's razor this and say, like, well, how about we tend to believe the one that's a little more likely? Because if you think out of various things that can happen, most likely the simplest explanation is the right one.
だいたいそれなら雷雲の中で瞬間移動現象が起こりまくりなわけなの
I bet lightning caused some light smoke in Bermuda. Both Tesla coils and lightning produce plasmas. They must work the same.
その割にはその飛行機に乗っていた男は平然としていたわけよね。緑色に発光はしなかったのかしら。
Also,
証言が一致しないわね。
plasma, like electrical discharge plasma, doesn't create smoke. It creates ozone. I don't really think you typically can see that. Like if you see smoke from an electric discharge, that's other things like dust particles or clothing that's burning. The actual electricity is just fusing O2 into O3, which is really important for our planet. Like it's part of what protects us from the sun, but wouldn't necessarily say it's all like just ooh. Ah!
もう天王寺の負けだな。
You and your convenient logic.
ちなみにテスラコイルで不思議現象を起こすハッチソン理論は9割9分9厘捏造。
Oh yeah, and we've had a lot of time to work with them. Not like it's hard to get a Tesla coil. You need money, but like you can get one if you really want one. I do think you need to get a license though, because they're really dangerous. Essentially, you just spin up an electromagnet and supercharge it to make it so that it can arc lightning to anything that's conductible within a certain range, depending on how much charge you give it. Normally, you have a second coil, or at least a cage to catch it, but, you know, if someone wanders too close, it could just hit them, and it could be very deadly in that way. But yeah, the fact that a civilian can build or order a Tesla coil, it's not like they're hiding anything from people. I was gonna bring those up too.
ネットで調べた程度の知識で私に対抗しようというのがそもそも間違いなのだわ。
But Tesla coils are so awesome! Just look at the videos!
プラズマが発生させる電磁波は人間の脳波に影響を与えるそうね。不思議現象に結びつけられたり、奇妙なものを見たという証言なんかは、そうした性質によるものである可能性だってあるのだわ。
Or they even get electrified themselves. Plus, electromagnetic waves are really interesting. They're called electromagnetic waves for a reason. They're not just electric, they're magnetic. So highly charged particles passing through of space does have a magnetic wave interference. Insulated wires tend to like really muffle that, but there's really interesting stuff you can do with like even a small charge in a wire. You put a coil and that's how you like turn like iron into a magnet, like a magnetic iron. And like a lot of like motors that you use are simply copper wires wrapped around a magnet, and the electricity passing through the wire makes the magnet move, and that's the basis of a lot of the engines and stuff, like your vacuum cleaner and your fan on your ceiling and stuff. Like, it's amazing. But yeah, I mean, electromagnetic wavelengths, like our brains run on electricity. It's possible to believe a strong enough electromagnetic interference even going close to us could make our brains feel funny. Huh?
もちろんプラズマに私たちにはまだ解明できていない特性がある可能性はあるわね。けれど、その中に時空移動や空間転移の性質がある確率は限りなくゼロに等しいんじゃないかしら。
Mm-hmm. The sun is essentially a giant ball of plasma, except for like the super hyperplasma where things are actually fusing. It's just superheated gas to the point where it's like above like gas. It's plasma. So if plasma were able to phase through time and space, we'd see stars fluctuating in their size. And they don't really. Like, the change in their makeup and size is kind of relative, because as the lifestyle of a star goes, it tends to expand because it stops being capable of holding itself together, based on the makeup of its core. But essentially, I'm saying like we would have the sun that would like get brighter and fainter and brighter and fainter as the plasma radiating through its entire ionosphere would gradually disappear and reappear as it phased in and out of time.
プラズマを何でも不思議現象の原因に貶めてしまうこともあまり褒められた思考とは言えないと思うわよ。
She's great at shutting things down, but I kept thinking a lot of crazy crap happens in this universe that she's probably at least somewhat aware of. She's really good at shutting down stuff when she lives in a world where there's a lot of stuff that like most people wouldn't believe is real. What if they eventually find out it actually has these properties? What will you do then?
人類の発展として大喜びしながらタイムトラベラー少女になるだけね。
That was the best answer I could have ever heard of. We've got a sleazy opportunist here.
その辺のことを書いた書物ならその辺の棚を探せば出てくるわよ。
Maybe I need to study up a bit.
で、科学的に理論づいた説が展開できてしまったらお前の負けと。
I started arguing for the opposite side again.
ちなみに知った上でならまたいくらでも否定説が出せるから、否定は一言で十分。
She is a fascinating person.
バミューダはでっち上げ。フィラデルフィア計画は酔っ払いのヨタ話。
Okay, screw this crap. Tengu are spiriting people away. Fear the gods.
天狗は山の愉快おじさん。
That actually does make a lot of sense, actually.
じゃあ、話は終わりです？結構おもろかった。私はよくわかりませんでしたけど。
ずいぶん噛み砕いて話していたつもりだけど。まあ、楽しかったわ。
Well, at least someone's having fun. You must love the sound of your own voice. What are you laughing at?
そういえば珍しいわね。あなたがこういう話に全く入ってこないなんて。
ええ。いろいろと突っ込めるところはありましたが、ヘタロウくんと議論を交わすアカネさんがとても楽しそうでしたね。
Dunsuru is a pretty good one, actually. My name's Kotaru.
本当にムカつくわ。
Well, whatever. I learned I can't beat you with words. I'll have to force you to experience it firsthand, Perez. You lose all motivation the moment I bring up physical exercise.
まあ、校内歩く程度ならいいけれど。
Alright, then it's decided. That's the thing that really gets my interest for her. She's really good at being dismissive. She's really good at finding excuses. But when she could easily wiggle her way out of stuff, especially at this stage in the story, she oddly doesn't. She goes along with it. And remember how much she was suffering walking through the forest. She knew she would hate it, but she still went with it and didn't just turn around as soon as things got hard. Which, like, the Akane, the impression I get of her is that typically she just wouldn't care. Like, why am I bothering doing something I don't believe in?
というわけで、夕食は私がご用意させていただきました。どうぞ、召し上がってください。
Aw, that's very creepy.
鍋だ。
Oh, that does sound good.
今回は魚介類を中心としたブイヤベース風に仕上げてみました。小骨などはできるだけ取り除いてあります。
サンマは入っていないのか。
では、次の機会がありましたら、サンマのご用意もいたしましょう。試してみたいレシピがあったのです。
Suzuru regards Sakuya with barely contained a curiosity.
サンマのバスク風ビネグレットソースです。スペインの方の料理のようですが、大変美味しそうなレシピでしたので。
I don't like how he's so good at things. Like, he's too good at things. Visions of a completely unknown type of foreign sorcery are most likely dancing through Suzuru's head.
委員長は食べないの？
私は。
どうせまた汚いとか言い出すんじゃないです？どう。
Suzuru hands Lucia a plate with an extra large portion.
私だって食べたくないわけじゃない。ただ、こういうこともあまりないから気遅れしてただけだ。
嫌いなものがあったら遠慮なくおっしゃってください。次回からは避けるようにいたしますよ。
大丈夫。心遣いは感謝するが、そういうわけじゃない。
世話かかりますね。
別にあなたに世話を焼いてもらうつもりもない。
Right. I was wondering. These two definitely have a little fire between them. Hey, stop fighting, you two. And you too. Don't try to take all the sea bream for yourself while the others are distracted.
さすがにいいものを仕入れてきているわね。褒めて使わすわ。
ありがとうございます。
Say something. I want to eat some sea bream too.
ヘタロウ君は本当にさもしいですね。ちゃんと別に取ってありますよ。後で足しましょう。
That's not the problem here.
言ってる自分も喧嘩してるじゃないですか。平和が一番なのにね。
Dang, they got us there. Oh my gosh, calm down.
しずるはすっかり夢中になって食べてるな。
I can't help it when it's so good, says Shizuru's blushing face.
一家に一台咲夜さんだ。
Don't say that.
ありがとうございます。料理を作る人間としては、そう言っていただけることが何よりの喜びです。
白菜がものすごく美味しいんですよ。
Look, I don't want to complain, but can you stop pushing all the bean sprouts in my direction?
いいじゃないですか。もやし美味しいですよ。
The moment Chihaya responds, the bean sprouts disappear from my side and are replaced with shirataki noodles. No, everything's pretty good here, I guess. I don't even care anymore.
鍋奉行には逆らわないことね。
Yeah, I just wish they weren't so obviously rigged.
じゃあ、私様からエビちゃんを与えて使わす。
Suzuru places a piece of sea bream on my plate too. Aw, you guys! Oh, finally some protein.
ごちそうさま。
A mountain of fish bones and scales rests on Akane's plate. Hot pot sure is one of the best tools to confirm the hierarchy of a group. I mean, was there any doubt? Alright, so I think we're going to stop here. I know today was a lot of like rambling of science, but I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. Like, I sometimes feel bad for like the times when I really go off the rails, but at the same time, like, that's one of my favorite things to talk about, theoretical science. It's so fun, so captures the imagination in just a cool, vibrant way. So I'm not apologizing for that. The only reason I would apologize is for the fact that maybe you guys are looking forward to scenes that upcoming that I might have pushed off for next week because this video is getting too long, but still. I'm not regretting it at all. Thank you so much for being a part of the channel. Thank you so much for being here and being able to share this story with me. It's always a pleasure to be able to do so, and I'm really excited to see what you think of it next time. And also what you thought of this episode in particular. If you have any interesting questions or want me to kind of share like insights or maybe like explain something, I can do okay. I was studying physics before I got sick. I can't say I got super far in the program, but like it's stuff that I worked with fairly regularly. I've done some research with part of school program where we would study like brown dwarf stars and working with astrophysics and stuff. So I'm not like completely blind to it, and it's not like I'm just regurgitating stuff I watched on Discovery Channel or something. Like I have seen some of the more like robust proofs that kind of go into this. I can't claim I understand all the math behind it all, but I can see, and I was able to discuss like the logic of the math and why it works the way it does. And so like, and I tried to explain it in the ways that help me understand. I'm a very visual learner, which is why, like, for me, it's like imagining myself at a point and with expanding cone of opportunity and possibilities helps me really relate with, like, it's a really robust and personalized way to understand what relativity really, like, applies to. Because relativity is essentially saying, like, understanding where things exist in time and space, and the fact that like where you position yourself relative to the rest of space impacts the way your measurements are going to play out, and how that when you take that to the extremes, it helps explain the large scale physics that are happening based on the small scale physics we have observed. And you know, it kind of helps fill in those gaps and helps predict a lot of things that once we looked for them, we actually found, which is what's really cool about like why the theory of relativity is so amazing. And so being able to apply it to your own life is a really cool way to kind of help explain why relativity is so important. And a lot of it is simply taking like a point and observation and then expanding it to its extremes in the physical limits. And it's cool. So I keep rambling on and on about it. So I apologize. I do apologize for that. But thank you so much, especially to the patrons and the members for supporting me and believing me on the channel. You give me a lot of hope in the future and that I'll be able to kind of continue to make something meaningful here, and I'm grateful for your direct support and for any support that you give our watching, views, subscribing, all of that. It's all so wonderful. It makes such a big difference, and I don't ever want to feel like I'm begging for that. I get annoyed by YouTubers who constantly throw at the beginning of the videos, despite the fact I know it leads to more successful and consistent like views and subscribers and likes. I just don't like that. I make a channel though I want to make, even if it's not optimal. But I'm so grateful that so many of you have decided to stick it through with me and to continue to enjoy these journeys. So hopefully I can keep you around for more with more engaging content and thought-provoking conversation. So if you have any thoughts you want to share with me, I'd love to hear them in the comments, and I'd also look forward to sharing more in the coming week. So until the next video, watch me. If you see me in next, I'll see you there.